Hello and a very warm welcome back to Fox's Weight Watcher Kitchen. I'm Johnny Fox. Firstly guys, thanks for all the lovely comments about the lovely chickpea curry we did with the spinach and kale. Appreciate all of those. We're going to mix things up a little bit today. We're going to do something a little bit sweet, a little nibble for the evening time, some lovely coconut macaroons. Okay, so your coconut macaroons, quite straightforward ingredients. We're going to use a couple of egg whites. If you don't know how to separate them, various ways. Some people use the shells and take it backwards and forwards. Personally, I just use clean fingers. The other thing, you can put condensed milk in there. Some people put sugar in there. Bearing in mind, we're trying to lose weight on these at the same time. So I'm using something from the Skinny Food Company. It's called maple syrup. They do other brands as well. You can see you've got your salted caramel one there. You've got your butterscotch ones. There's lots of other ranges. I will put the link in underneath if you want to try these sauces. All I'm going to put into this one is 3 of these tablespoonfuls of liquid, just to give it that lovely sweet taste. And personally, I don't know about you guys, but maple syrup in these is absolutely delicious. So we're popping back onto the front and give the spoon a bit of a clean up. And the last wet ingredient, if you have got some vanilla extract, you will need to put in roughly about a teaspoonful, but yes, you saw a little bit heavy-handed there, but because I like my vanilla extract, I like to put mine a little bit heavier. Now we can whisk this up by hand, but because we have got the gadget handy today, let's just blend this up with the whisk. And as you can see guys, all we're doing at this point is whisking it up until we get those lovely soft peaks. Once that's done and out of the way, we'll put those in the bowl out of the way so it's safe, and we can do the washing up a little bit later on. So the wet ingredients are now done. You will need to get yourself some, as you can see, I use big containers, desiccated coconut. How much of this are we going to need? Well, this is where I cheat. I get my scales. I'm going to put 150 grams, which is usually about, that's the half cup one. Usually you use about a whole cupful. So I'm just going to measure mine in there because I know I've done these quite a few times. So I'm going to go for 150 grams of desiccated coconut. And that is just about there. So there's my coconut in there. And how hard is this, guys, to do your mixing? Now, bearing in mind, some people will put a little pinch of salt in there as well. It's all about your personal preference. If you want to put salt in yours, you can put the salt in it. If you don't want to put the salt in it, then don't put it in. It's that simple. And all we're doing, as you can see, when we whisked up the wet mixture to start with, we're just trying to make that a little bit airy, a little bit light and fluffy. And then all we're going to do is mix in the coconut. Now at this point you can see from the overhead camera, see it's still sort of quite shiny on there as well. So what we do is just keep mixing this in. It will absorb a lot of this moisture and eventually it goes a little bit dry. So if you find like this one, I'm looking at mine thinking it's wet but it's not quite wet enough, you've got a choice. You can add just a little bit of water to it, but because we're using the Skinny Food sauces today, I'm just going to cheat and add just a little bit more of my maple syrup, because all this is going to do is enhance the flavour of this completely. And quite honestly, I don't know about you guys, I love macaroons. This is one of my favourite nibbles in here. It's a bit like, you know, when you get those chocolate bars, Bounty bars. The way that I do mine, again, very different to everybody else's. I've seen loads of these different ways. At this point, once you've got the mix ready, most people at this point now would get your ice cream scoop out. They'd scoop it up, put it onto your tray, bake it in the oven for 15 minutes at about 180, and then they get their chocolate drizzle. Have you seen how they do that? They get their chocolate, put it in the saucepan, melt it down first so it looks a little bit like that, and then they get their icing thing, and then they do all the wiggles over the top, and you're wasting loads of chocolate on the parchment paper. The one thing, guys, that I find as well, I don't know about you guys, but one thing I don't like to do is waste food. So my way is just a little bit different. So we're not going to get the ice cream scoop into it at this point. We're going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to get my chocolate chip out now, and I'm not going to dissolve them. I'm not going to melt them down. I'm going to just get half a cup of chocolate chips. So you know how you make your cookies at home and you get your chocolate chips? Just half a cup and put them straight into the mix. If I find my wooden spoon, because now it's a little bit harder, and just mix this lot together. That's all we're going to do, is give it a good mix until they're all in there together. Because one thing, guys, I don't know about you, but one thing that I hate is if you do the melted chocolate version, that's nice because you get the drizzle over the top, you can put them in and twist it and coat the bottom of them and make them look really pretty. But the thing that people don't tell you, especially if you watch other videos on YouTube as well about this, you'll see what I mean about the drizzle, the base, and some people put it on the top as well and give it a heavy drizzle. If you do all that, that's fine. Now, if you're trying to lose weight like me, firstly, what do you do with that chocolate that's left over? You've got this dish of all the melted chocolate. So what are you going to do? Let it set and then carry on eating it? Or you're going to put your finger in it and, you know, burn your finger and eat it? Either way, you're putting the calories on, or you're just going to tip it down the sink and do the washing up and waste the whole lot. Personally, I don't like to waste food. That is why I do mine this way. And as you can see, everything is all nicely mixed up. Now all we're going to do is the same that everybody else would do. We're going to get our tray with a bit of parchment paper on the top, and then we use the typical cookie scoop and do what everyone else does. Because I don't like putting too much on there, we just scoop them in, give it a squash on the side, and work our way bit by bit through the macaroons. So let's start filling the tray up. And as you can see, now that we've got to the end, the last one goes on. 16 macaroons. If you get a few that break up on the edges like this, just use your fingers very lightly and squash them back together. If you get some chocolate chips that fall away, then pop those into the side as well. All we're going to do now, guys, is put this in the oven, have the oven preheated. I keep mine on for about 5 minutes prior to the cooking, and we're going to put these in the oven for about 15 minutes or until they look like they're going golden brown. Temperature, if you're in Fahrenheit, around about 350, centigrade 180. So we'll put these in the oven, we'll be right back. Okay, so we've had them out of the oven. I've left them on the side cooling down for about 20 minutes. The tray's nice and cold to touch. As you can see, golden brown on the top, chocolate chip filled macaroons. Instead of getting the chocolate and dunking them in, instead of getting the drizzle and putting it all over on top and wasting it, we've got chocolate chip macaroons. As you can see, beautiful little macaroons. Taste wise, let's just have a little nibble. Guys, these macaroons are absolutely delicious. If you want to put the dunking in the chocolate, you can do it. If you want to do the drizzle, this way there's no waste. You've got the chocolate chip straight in there. And another little trick as well, something I did last night, because another batch that I like, you know when you get the egg mix and you put your liquids in and you whisk it all up, before you do the whisking, a batch I made last night, I'm using some dark cocoa powder. If you want to know what these ones look like, this is the batch that I made last night. So in other words, we're talking about a double choc chip macaroon. Coconut flavour, chocolate and coconut goes absolutely delicious together. These are absolutely beautiful in the evening time for a little nibble. Guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I've thoroughly enjoyed making it. As you can see, loads and loads of nibbles to eat on these. We'll catch you again on the next video. If you like it, you know where the subscribe button is. Click on the bell, you'll be notified of other videos, and we'll catch you on the flip side on the next video. Take care. Have a great week. Bye-bye.